Okay, February 11th, 2006, and got the cheapo high 8 in hand with a 30-minute tape. The other one's got a 120-minute tape. Mini tripod, little 30-inch tripod, and going in to see Norm Stamper at the ACLU annual conference, Kane Hall, University of Washington, only a couple of weeks after our little adventure at the U bookstore with Courtney's mama. And since this is a 30-minute tape, I'm going to turn it off and get to it.
Always will be permeable, regardless of the efforts of some within our government to erect a Berlin Wall from Tijuana to Matamoros. The consequence of which is that the violence is spilling over from our country into Mexico, from Mexico into our country. And I think we need to examine the morality of American foreign drug policy and what's being caused and created here. I think we also need to ask whether or not the drug war has been effective. Drugs today are more readily available, in higher potency than they have ever been. The DEA in its own literature talks about the easy availability of illicit drugs to young people. 3.5 decades after war was declared on drugs. What's wrong with this picture? Why is this war unwinnable? I submit that it's because when we first became erect and started walking around, and maybe inadvertently picked up some kind of a leaf and chewed on it, and it gave us a buzz, or it relieved the toothache, or it made us feel euphoric, or it contributed to our sexual prowess, or whatever, we have loved our drugs. We do. We are a country, we are a world that loves our drugs. And that's never going to go away. It didn't go away during alcohol prohibition from 1920.
We have a season payer health plan, and we have our society absorbing the cost of free to do with my body whatever I want, consequences. What would the relative cost be of the state supporting those personal choices versus the current social costs?
Thank you. The model that I recommend, I've heard helicopters from a couple of drug dealers, and then painted in black and white, put them up in the air. I'm sorry, it's just this ambivalence that I have about that part of that picture. But thank you. Sir.
Chief Stamper, I saw your presentation at Town Hall when the book was first came out. And at that time, you had spoken a little bit about the use of less lethal weapons on the WTO. And then I saw you more recently on C-SPAN, switching channels. I noticed you've changed your position on that. I'm wondering if you could expand on the change in your position, read the use of less lethal weapons against demonstrators, and maybe if you could say if you would support measures such as those that were recently implemented in San Francisco and Los Angeles, banning and limiting the use of those weapons against peaceful demonstrators.
I'm so glad you're here. I haven't taken you to... very mixed mind about non-lethal. I almost fell into the trap. Less than lethal weapons.
They're talking about right now. You are correct when you say that the use of toxins and drugs is thousands of years old in cultures all over the world. But the amount of it in this culture today is just huge and enormous. I think the reason for it is we've created such a totally stressful culture that people feel this need to go get smashed out. And when I talk to people about this, and they don't think we ought to be thinking about what we can do about reducing the stress, they kind of look at me patiently and say, yeah, we're not going to do that. Sure. So the best thing we do is just let people go get smashed out. And I wonder, is it possible for us to do better than to work on the wrong problem?
Well, I'm going to say I don't disagree with you. I do.
Juveniles. I worked in the juvenile correction system for 7+ years, and probably 98% of the kids that came in had issues of using alcohol and any other substance they could get their hands on. Oftentimes it was other adults who were selling them prescriptions or whatever. And kids are very clever and manipulative and very experimental. So I'm wondering, in the brave new world you describe, which I tend to agree, it would probably be better that the government look at making money that way. They're already selling alcohol, so why not sell drugs? It makes sense to me. But what will happen to kids who...
No.
So do you think kids will be less exposed to drugs as a result of there being controls by the government?
I think there's ample evidence that kids are exposed to illegal drugs today in numbers that would shock many casual observers who don't, for that matter, have kids. But certainly the program that I advocate would not be providing drugs to kids. It would be providing much better drug prevention and drug treatment.
We really need.
We sure do. And shame on us for spending all of that money to so little effect on the enforcement side of this equation and so little on prevention and treatment. Richard.
Well, Norm Stamper, I have to keep looking over my shoulder here because, as you know, I've attended 2 of your public appearances in the last year, and at both of them I've been viciously attacked by gangs of goons that, to all evidence, Norm Stamper has hired. That is, I stand up to ask him a question, I get about this far, and out of the shadows jump who knows? They've not yet been identified clearly to me. When I went to town hall in June, a gang of 4 men and 1 woman. I'm speaking here. Well, we're the goons tonight, Norm. Evidently, you didn't have the balls to hire goons at the ACLU meeting because it just points out what everybody knows, which is on the subject of civil liberties, you have an absolutely execrable record. You are a monster when it comes to civil liberties. You made passing remarks that you choked out 100 people when you were in uniform in San Diego. You know, that makes you a serial felony assaulter of those people. If you had revealed that piece of information when you applied to be Seattle Police Chief, you would have never become Seattle Police Chief. So you're a big fraud. And this liberal nonsense that you're spewing about let's all get high, whatever is in my body is my business, is just a lot of rot. Okay? Now the fact is, Norm Stamper, that the question that you will not answer is why you are publishing a book with Nation Books, on whose board of directors is Danny Goldberg. Danny Goldberg is Kurt Cobain's former talent manager.
With Danny Goldberg. So, Mr. Stanford, can you tell us why you're on the board with Danny Goldberg? Thank you, sir. That's the end of the questioning. And as soon as we get this answer...
Danny Goldberg knows jolly well how Kurt Cobain was murdered.
We want to talk too. Well, sit down. Come on. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
Answer why you're on a Danny Goldberg.
Well, the short answer is I don't know Danny Goldberg and I'm not on any board with him.
Bullshit! Danny Goldberg is the guy that pimped you into your new career as a police... Hey, I got my equipment.
I'll walk you out.
No, I got my equipment in my nose back there. Danny Goldberg is the guy who pimped him into his new career.
We're walking out.
No, I got to get my property, baby. Kathleen Taylor of the ACLU, director of the ACLU, is shoving me out because they don't like my opinions. Because my opinions are too controversial. Danny Goldberg and Norm Stamper are the 2 people who are most responsible for putting across to the public the myth that Kurt Cobain committed suicide.
Being disruptive.
They are the 2 in April of 1990. No, they're tossing my equipment around, you dirty fuckers.
Come on.
You dirty fuckers are tossing around my my equipment. I have the longest running public affairs television program in Seattle, and you're tossing around my property and treating me like some kind of a criminal. There's your criminal. There's your criminal. He's the guy that choked out 100 people. He's the guy that started the WTO riots. He's the guy who's being paid off with his new career as a writer for assisting Danny Goldberg in hiding the evidence of murder in the Kurt Cobain case. That's your Norm Stamper. Complicity in murder. All right?
We don't want to hear anymore, but thank you.
He's the serial criminal that you want to go after.
Woo! Go now.
Shut up, bitch.
Actually,
You shut up too, bitch.
say to you.
Norm Stamper, your liberal hero here. Ask him about how he shortened the lives of the people who he choked out.
Take your dog and pony show where
A serial choker outer in uniform.
people are interested.
Paid off by Danny Goldberg of Nation Books
May I offer you an
and
arm
the
around
Nation
door, sir? I'd be glad
Institute.
to escort you out the door.
The big payoff. We're going to make you a famous writer someday, Norm Stamper. You're going to be a famous writer. Just help us out. Cover up the evidence of murder in this case. The evidence that Danny Goldberg's own wife knows about.
You're nuts. You're nuts.
Fuck you. Bastard, don't hit me. Anybody else want to hit me? You want a piece of me? You want a piece of me, you liberal fucks? Fuck you. Hyper-liberal fucks. Criminal liberal fucks. Alright, who's the douche that's got my equipment? Who's got the equipment that's already broken from being tossed around?
Okay, reception is upstairs, please join us. Reception is upstairs, please join us.
What happened to you in first? Everyone won.
Who stole my equipment?
They'll find it.
Oh, you got so much confidence in your liberal buddies. Yeah, right. They just threw it on the ground.
I really support freedom of speech, but I think you were being a little...
I was being assaulted, smartass. I was being assaulted. I've been viciously assaulted by these people over and over again.
I also think you were being...
Your opinion is stupid. It's uninformed. You didn't hear about the assaults that they did on me?
Sir, can I ask you not hassle people?
I want my equipment. If you're security, man, get the equipment that was stolen from me. Who's got my stolen property here?
It isn't the same thing. You can't just say, but he's not going to say.
Stolen property. Where's the stolen property? Yeah, they're going to take my equipment away from me, and then they're going to blame me. Call the cops, man. A guy's been ripped off. We've got to arrest the guy that got ripped off. Stolen property, people. Where's my stolen property? Who's got my stolen property, man? It's a short reel. We're going into pause mode. 5:04. 5:04, 50 seconds.
Stay for a couple minutes and then come on up.
Say, Doug, I think Kathleen and your goons ripped off my equipment. Is that something that should be? Is that something that should be happening to a reporter at an ACLU meeting?
No, I don't think we ripped
They threw it on the ground and they shoved me out. They stole my equipment. It's missing it. Do I have it with me, man?
Do I have it?
Well, you're running the joint. Why don't you find out what happened to my stolen property, dude?
Why
There's
don't
the
you find
reception.
out? I haven't seen it. Go look.
I'll just kick some ass and take some names, Doug, and let them know you authorized it. The tea bag's still in here. Well, it ain't where it's supposed to be. Yo, Kathleen, where's my property, babe? You're telling me, Kathleen, that you are not in charge of ripping off my goods? Kathleen Taylor, you're the executive director of the ACLU. I've just been shoved around viciously at your meeting, and my equipment was thrown to the ground. Where's my equipment, babe? Excuse me, ma'am, where's my property you stole off me? Ms. Taylor? My property, babe. Hey, Ms. Taylor, when the brutal police steal my property, at least they keep count of it. Do you have an accounting of the property that was stolen from me?
On another part is...
My camera, babe. Your goons assaulted a reporter and stole his camera. Could I have my camera back?
Okay, let's pick this up here. We're going to go upstairs.
Okay, I have to get my son at 5:30, but it's interesting comparing that. The first prohibition in relation to alcohol is that when you have a law that's not enforceable...
You beat up a reporter and you took his property. Where is it, Kathleen?
It's
too sweet, babe. Come on.
You know, I'm trying to talk here.
They stole my property. Write them a letter, man.
No, but I'm trying to talk here now.
My property is being made off with, and the executive director of the ACLU and her little pet fascist, Norm Stamper, are obviously the parties to blame. So where's my property, dude?
There's a more appropriate...
Sean Snyder, Media Services.
Hi, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm a member of the media, and my camera's been stolen.
Let's disagree. There's a more appropriate time and place to resolve this, and that's in court. And if you don't leave,
where's my property, dude? You're supervising the theft of my property.
There's a court of law where you can resolve this. Now,
go bugger yourself. Get my property. Right. Get on the horn and get my property. Call the police.
I'm calling the police. Is that what you want?
Tell them my property's been stolen.
I'm calling the police.
Tell them this broad is in charge of the situation.
Because I was a high school teacher for 40 years, is that you can...
Does anybody see a black bag and a high-8 camcorder? Walked out with it in that direction. Kathleen, you led the charge that led to the strong-arm robbery of my property.
Or watching television, you know, I mean, that's just horrifying.
Kathleen, this is evidence in your criminal trial. Could you possibly reveal to me what precisely you did with the camera that you stole from me?
This has been a strong belief of mine for years, and it's a major problem with our society. And,
Kathleen Taylor, Executive Director of ACLU of Washington. The gal that got so many laughs out of...
and prohibition, you had to have the New Deal.
The Mother's Little Helpers jokes by your pet fascist Norm Stamper there. I think you could maybe pay attention to the basic property laws in this state. You know, the ones that say that strong-arm robbery is a criminal offense. As a matter of fact, it's probably a felony.
We should be teaching nonviolence early, and I just want we have a bill that's now been endorsed by the Senate.
Hey Norm, you know the only comment you ever made to me about
giving talks
about
from restorative justice.
The Kurt Cobain case said that you were eager to protect the privacy of the family. Well, you know, you made some comments today here about the worst thing that a person could possibly do is to take narcotics while they're carrying a child. But the conspicuous suspect in the Kurt Cobain homicide has publicly acknowledged doing precisely that. Taking heroin. And that's the person who you, in writing, said you were eager to protect Courtney Love's privacy. Isn't that right?
Oh, thank you.
Why are you so eager to protect Courtney Love's privacy? Is it a little favor you're doing for Danny Goldberg? Who, by the way, Kathleen, is the former executive director of ACLU of Southern California. So tell us, Norm, how did Kurt Cobain die at a bloodless or near bloodless crime scene?
Can we get security around here? Hey, Ray.
Yeah, get security. They stole my camera. It's nowhere in sight. Kathleen led the charge here. Let's get a police report on this.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah.
You know, Kathleen, if I had gotten my camera, I would have been out of here 10 minutes ago. This is all your fault. Don't know how to handle the situation. So what you've said, Mr. Stamper, is that you never bothered asking the King County Medical Examiner about how it is that Kurt Cobain died at a bloodless or near bloodless crime scene.
Thanks.
Repeatedly, you said you never bothered asking.
Thank you very much.
And yet you're here pontificating about your vision of morality in policing. How is it that your vision of morality includes not investigating homicides? Is it because the business manager of the homicide victim was promising you a big career sometime in the future? A big career as a famous writer? Your face would be all over national TV all the time. It's exactly how it turned out for you, Norm Stamper. Under whose sponsorship? Danny Goldberg. Danny Goldberg of the American Civil Liberties Union. Gold Mountain Talent Management. And you know what the real kicker is, Norm Stamper? Only last year, Danny Goldberg's own wife was found to have been propagating the idea that Cobain's suicide note was a complete forgery, forged by his wife, Courtney Love. Now, that's the woman who was Cobain's personal attorney. She's the spouse of Danny Goldberg.
The question I wanted to ask thought along similar lines. I was wondering, have you felt about legalization of prostitution?
Yes.
Now, when you've got a spouse going against the interests of her very wealthy husband by telling a private investigator that the suicide note in the Cobain homicide case was a forgery, you've got the basis for reopening a homicide investigation. The homicide investigation in which you participated only as a cover-up agent in 1994. Kathleen, you're getting in my way there. That's not freedom of the press where I come from.
Brooklyn.
Oh, I grew up in Westchester County.
Someone actually recognized the housing development.
Have you had some conversations with Danny Goldberg? Even 8 months after I raised this as an issue with you, Norm Stamper, you're still sticking with your story that you don't know who Danny Goldberg is. Is that right? Who's that? I don't know Danny Goldberg. Who's Danny Goldberg? He's on the board of directors of the Nation Institute, the owner of the book firm Nation Books. Danny Goldberg is your publisher, Norm Stamper. Kurt Cobain's old business manager is your publisher, promoting your career as a big mucky-muck in the world of political commentary on the Bill O'Reilly show and elsewhere. If it wasn't for Danny Goldberg's sponsorship, Norm Stamper, you wouldn't have a career now. You'd be sitting in your little cabin in Orcas Island, typing up your little screenplays for an audience of no one.
Thanks for your points. I did want to say...
You wander this way with them? Because we...
Sure, you got it in your answers.
What I suggest you do is this, Norm Stamper.
I think it's important to stress...
Call Danny Goldberg. Call his wife, the rather accomplished and affluent entertainment attorney.
That's usually I make
Take a meeting and get all of your attorneys together
more than sale.
and decide how it is that you're going to approach the FBI and the Attorney General and explain to them how you are not the perpetrators of an interstate conspiracy to commit murder or an interstate conspiracy to sanction murder.
Anwar, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Do you think that would be a wise course of action for you, Norm Stamper? Because I'll tell you, there's no statute of limitations on murder. And the fine line you're walking here, Mr. Stamper, is the fine line that says your name goes down in history as complicit in this homicide.
Who's that?
Or you're a guy that made some small effort
Probably not.
to exonerate himself
I don't know.
by informing the authorities of what he knows. Because in terms of what you know, you've never revealed anything, and we all know
Get to
that.
read it. He can't.
All you've said is that you wanted to protect the privacy of the family, meaning Courtney Love, the principal suspect in the case, and out of respect to the investigators who investigated the case, you would not comment on it. The investigators who investigated the case, the investigation squad was led by Don Cameron. Don Cameron.
Actually, called the police.
Don Cameron
Really?
resigned.
I haven't, but the university did.
Only
Bad
months
press. You know that?
before you resigned, Warren
Nobody's
Stamper.
interested.
Okay,
Do you know?
Homicide Sergeant Don Cameron is the person you said you were protecting by not commenting.
No, I really don't.
And that person is, of
Thank you
course,
very much for speaking. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's awful.
a 40-year veteran of the Seattle Police Department who resigned because he and his squad robbed an 84-year-old man who the Seattle police shot to death. The police shot him to death, and then they robbed him of $10,000. And that's the investigatory squad that you claim that you're protecting by not commenting on the Kurt Cobain homicide. If it wasn't for your own scandalous activities in 1999 with the WTO, Mr. Stamper, the Cameron Davis squad was the biggest news story in Seattle of 1999 until you led a police riot by your own admission today. I wish I hadn't fired that tear gas on those peaceful protesters. Or does he? It certainly created a smokescreen so that he could resign without anyone believing it had to do with his complicity in murder. And that's the name of that tune. Officer, are you here to investigate the theft of my camera and my camera bag and several other valuable items?
All right, how are we doing today, sir?
These people were shoving me around, and then they stole they threw my camera to the ground and my camera bag, and they stole it.
Okay. What's your agenda here tonight?
I'm just a reporter covering the event.
Okay. Do you happen to have your driver's license on you?
Sure. Has anyone apprised you of the whereabouts of my valuable equipment?
Not yet.
Well, because Ms. Taylor of the ACLU led an assault on my person in their little auditorium, and then in that melee, they threw my camera to the ground, my other camera, and there you go. They threw my camera to the ground, and then they stole it as they were shoving me around.
245 name.
And I asked them many, many times for its return. As a matter of fact, officer, like I said, I would have left 10 minutes ago if they had given me my property.
First of Richard, Robert Ida, Charles Henry, Adam Robert, David, Bill W. for William, 082763. Okay, so what's your argument here tonight?
I'm just a reporter doing a job here, man,
That's not what I asked you. What's your problem tonight?
My problem is I got ripped off. They stole a camera that, cost, when it was new, $650. Yeah, it just happened like 20 minutes ago.
So you had two cameras with you?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have any suspect info?
Yeah, Kathleen Taylor of the ACLU led the charge. She led a bunch of people to surround me and shove me out of that room. And in the melee, they threw my camera down and my camera bag, and it's now whereabouts unknown. I asked her like 15 or 20 times, where's my equipment? Like I said, I would have been out of here 10 minutes ago, but they wouldn't give me my equipment.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. For the time being, while I'm speaking with you, okay, for my safety, I don't want you holding a camera up in a throwing position, so I'm going to ask you to set that down for the time being until I'm done speaking with you, okay?
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Lee. You ever been arrested before?
Sure.
When was the last time?
Not for anything serious, just free speech stuff, you know.
Okay. All right. Hey, free speech in America, right?
Well, not according to this guy, you know.
I'm not going to get you going, am I?
No, but when I was at town hall, big crowd, they jumped on me. They jumped on me, just similar to what they did here.
Okay, well, the bottom line for tonight is, okay, you are causing a disruption, okay?
Well, sir, if I could just make my position perfectly clear, like I said, many times, I just wanted to leave. I just want to go.
Stop for a second, please, and listen what the officer got to say. How about
Well,
that?
when we're through with you here tonight, okay, we'll actually help you leave, okay? That way you won't have any problems with any other people here.
Super.
Sounds fair?
Like I said, I would have been long gone by now, but, you know, they threw my camera to the ground, like, deliberately to make me mad, and then they shoved me out of the room before I could pick it up.
Did you phone the police?
I asked that this guy from media relations, little short guy with dark hair, about 25 years old.
Okay, because if someone threw my camera down, I'd call the police.
Well, first time I saw somebody with a walkie-talkie, I said...
I mean, I'd actually go to a payphone and call the police.
well...
That's the smartest thing to do. I wouldn't rely on anyone else.
I'm not sure what you're saying, really.
I'm saying I wouldn't rely on anybody else to call the police for
Well,
me.
this is just a few minutes afterwards, and the guy said, I'm going to call the police, and I assumed that he would.
Okay.
I mean, frankly, I thought they were going to give it back. It's obvious who took it. And they're free speech enthusiasts. Look at their pamphlets out there. They're all about free speech. Robbing a reporter is really a bad thing for them to be doing. But they did it. If they returned my camera, it would look a hell of a lot more civilized. In fact, is there a big black bag
you're
over
right,
there?
but had you been more respectful, you'd get your camera back.
That doesn't have to do with respect.
Let's not start
You were bringing up good points, but the way you carry the message is important. These officers are treating you with respect. Treat the chief with respect.
He's a monster. He's a big-time criminal.
But your comments will be better received
let's
when you
not start
deliver them
again,
with
please.
respect. I was in there just trying to support you.
Right, right.
And time is 5:24. We're just going to...
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Like you said just a few moments ago, you want to get out of here, right?
That may be my property over there. I don't know. They, you know, like thieves, sometimes they steal something and then they just kind of toss it somewhere where someone will find it because they get nervous they're going to get caught. That might be it down there.
That wasn't the
Well, I'd like to get my property. That's what I'm saying.
But, okay, stick to the question.
Do you want to stay here with him or talk to those guys about any property? What exactly do you have?
It's a black bag about that big and a camcorder about that big with a tripod on it.
Okay.
Sounds like it. Motorcycle endorsement?
I ran here.
Okay. Because I was in municipal court yesterday. If I had a warrant, I'm sure they would have told me.
Is that for your free speech stuff?
Yep.
Okay. Out of Seattle?
Yeah. Seattle Municipal Court. Judge Hightower.
What were you arrested for? Disorderly?
Creativity, I would say.
Does that translate to disorderly conduct? Trespass?
Nah, it was more like running for office, running for mayor. They don't want you doing that in this town, man. Running for mayor, that's like, because I had 2,500 people on my petition endorsing me running for mayor, and the current mayor doesn't have anybody on his petition. He just bought his way onto the onto the ballot, so he's jealous, basically, is what it is.
We checked all that. There's something else. There was a Michael Bro inside. Did you accidentally hit somebody?
Might have been.
That's what it's coming
Several
from.
people hit me, there's no doubt about that. Did somebody punch me right in the back?
Just won't hit someone on the stage. Oh, it's gone. The guy who was involved. The guy was trying to tell him, okay, that's enough.
No, that's not what he was doing, officer. I think you got the wrong version of that
I'm
story.
not making it up. That's what I heard from the
Yeah,
paper.
but that's not what happened.
That's what I'm saying. I don't take sides. That's not my job.
Are they saying that they did take a bag or anything?
I'm sorry?
Are they saying that they did take a bag or anything like that?
No. Nobody. Back. We check all the roads, one by one. There's nothing.
Okay, well, they don't want to press charges or nothing? We'll take it. We'll take it that they don't.
Well, sir, did you talk to Ms.
This is what
Taylor?
we're gonna do.
Because,
Mr.
well,
Lee.
so what do you mean you didn't talk to her? She was leading the charge.
Mr. Lee, I'm talking to you now, okay? This is what we're doing, okay? We're gonna escort you from the premises, okay?
How about a police report on the theft?
We're gonna escort you from the premises, okay? If you return, then we're gonna have to take police action, okay?
Are you refusing to take a police report?
Does that make sense to you? You understanding what I'm saying?
I'm willing to leave, obviously.
Okay.
But,
gather your things.
sir, are you saying that you're not the authority to...
Listen, I'm saying gather your things,
Oh, you're saying
and we're
that
gonna walk out of the
stealing
building.
from me is okay. That's what you're saying. Obviously, you're refusing to take a report.
Okay, we're coming this way.
Parking garage.
Did you ask Ms. Taylor if she had my equipment?
Come on, Mr. Lee. Out this door.
If I want to file a police report, can I do that by phone?
Out the door.
It's like 3 or 4.
I see. There is no theft because it was me. I've been going through this my whole life. It's okay to hit me. It's okay to steal from me.
Mr. Lee, I have your driver's license right here. I just want to make sure that you are absolutely clear you're not to return. Understand?
What about as a fully matriculated graduate student?
Mr. Lee, I'm not playing games here. Do you understand?
I'm heading straight for the exit, but are you telling me that I can
There you go.
no longer return to the University of Washington under any circumstances? No, you don't have that authority. Apparently you don't have the authority to take a theft report.
Have a good night.
You know, no disrespect, sir, but I'm going to have to call this in as a theft. And the idea that you, Officer Bagsby, wouldn't take a theft report is pretty shocking. But it's okay to steal from me. It's okay to beat on me. It's okay to steal from me. Right? Golden fucking rule. I'm the appropriate victim. Those fuckers, they threw the shit, they threw my camera down with the tripod I just obtained, which is a real sweet tripod, and those dirty ACLU fucks stole it. If they had any fucking character at all, any integrity at all, they would have returned the shit. But they probably knew it got broken when it was thrown down. So they figured, well, we'll just steal the shit and then say one of our, you know, little ACLU attendees ripped it off, but not Ms. Taylor. Not the broad that led the riotous situation against me, right? The ACLU says it's okay to steal from you, as long as you have unpopular opinions. You know, I used to live in Chicago. The time, by the way, is 5:34. I used to live in Chicago in the early 80s. I mean, I lived there until 88. And, you know, the defining moment that everybody knows is the Nazi Frank Collins. The Nazi Frank Collins wanted to march in Skokie, and the ACLU ran to his defense. There's nothing they couldn't do for old Frank the Nazi. What are they willing to do for me? Jack shit. Absolutely nothing. In fact, not only they're not willing to go to the wall to defend my interests, take it all the way to the Supreme Court. That fucking bitch led the fucking charge. And they stole the tape also. What a fucking nut I am for just not fighting those fuckers off. I figure, I mean, they stole it, man. Nobody who's attending this conference just thought, oh wow, I'll rip him off. They were doing it. She was leading the charge. I mean, we've got this tape, but fuck them all. They ripped me off, man. Total rip-off. Total 100% rip-off. Those cocksuckers. I'll never stop fucking ripping them for this. Never. You know? Total ultimate extent of brutality. No amount of violence was, you know, enough to get me. I mean, really, if there hadn't been 30 fucking people surrounding me, getting me out of that room, I certainly would have grabbed the camera. Totally pissed off. Anyway, tonight is a historic night for the ACLU because, for the first time ever, to my knowledge, they've got a fucking TV program. And we know, if you ain't on TV, you ain't shit. So, just the remaining minute or so, these are the colorful notes that I had for this evening. And by the way, what I was holding is At War with Himself. This is the 16th of April, 94. This is the article in the PI that Danny Goldberg says that his wife was so good to him, and he was at war with himself. There was a part of him that wanted to live, and a part of him that wanted to die. Like all of us, Danny, you know. The ACLU is our nation's guardian of liberty. We work daily in courts, legislators, and communities to defend and preserve the individual rights and liberties guaranteed to every person in this country. By the Constitution and the laws of the United States. Our job is to conserve America's original civic values, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. $400,000 members. They claim that they work 6,000 cases per year. So they claim. Never done one fucking thing for me, I'll tell you. So the TV program that's coming on Court TV tonight is Robert Greenwald, producer. He's the guy that did that Outfoxed, which largely, you know, ironically depends on the talents of one Bill O'Reilly to be an utter fool and an asshole as he's harassing some guy whose father died in 9/11. He's just calling him a hippie radical and all that. That takes up like 15 minutes. I mean, the O'Reilly footage itself takes up more than 5 minutes of the whole movie, Outfoxed. Anyway, that guy is Greenwald, and he is the co-author with Danny Goldberg and his daddy of It's a Free Country, Personal Freedom. We're pausing here because that's the Gates, the new, you know, they had a funky old law library over there, a little ways, sort of off campus, and really, really close to the old Ted Bundy house, unfortunately. Ted lived a stone's throw away from the law library. And that's the new William H. Gates Law Library and law school. I'll have to check out the old building. I don't know what they did with it. But it was charmingly, you know, 1950s. You could almost believe maybe some some lawyering up got done there. Maybe some legal learning actually got done there, because it was not too noble and overstated like all the steel and glass architecture there. The most stunning thing about that building is that edge. It's like a knife blade, man. Anyway, so that was a big deal back in 2002. Released a year after September 11th. Edited by Danny Goldberg, Victor Goldberg, and this Greenwald guy. Had, you know, chapters by Tom Hayden, Michael Isikoff, Moore, the Fat Guy filmmaker, Barney Frank, Maxine Waters, representative. And so he's the producer, or one of the producers of the TV show that's coming on tonight. I think it's called Freedom Files. And so Freedom Files is the ACLU's attempt to get into the TV biz in some kind of way. Only, to the month, 25 years after the inauguration of Ronald Reagan. Shouldn't they have been on this situation? Informing the public of the 25 years ago on TV. Anyway, the melee at the ACLU meeting. And you saw briefly there the Jacobson Observatory. And I'm getting the flashy tape signal, meaning we're running out, but the only other Danny Goldberg news item recently, of course, he is the chairman and CEO of Air America, and it was recently revealed that on the Bill O'Reilly show, ironically, but apparently it's taken for factual reality, that their lead personality there, the not terribly funny Al Franken, is getting $2 million a year for being on that radio station. That fledgling radio network. But we're off their fucking property. Anyway, so yeah, somebody just published a recent book. Jen Treenan, Everything I Am is Cracked Up. I'm everything I am cracked up to be. A rock and roll fairy tale. Boston-based folk singer. Tries to hook up with Danny Goldberg. Goes into his office. He utters the magic words, Kurt Cobain, and she's instantly smitten. Maybe I'd have the chance to have another relationship with you like I had with Kurt. He tells her. She hears this and her heart melts. Of course, it's all downhill from there. And this author, she's now an author because she failed as a singer under the tutelage of Goldberg, and also Geffen. She actually got a meeting with Geffen, the Geffen, David Geffen, something that, as far as I know, Kurt Cobain never got, a meeting with the boss. David Geffen, another DG in this sordid affair. David Geffen, Danny Goldberg, David Grohl. 3 Mr. G's. All of whom, according to their ransom note, want to break your hands and beat you to death. We're quoting Mr. Grohl there to me back a few years ago. Those dirty bastards, those dirty fucking bastards, robbed by those fucks. Robbed. In-fucking-credible. Did not even believe it myself. I mean, of course, I couldn't believe what fabulous footage I was getting in the melee. But those dirty fucks, they robbed me. They robbed my camera, those fucks. Those dirty, dirty fucks. The ACLU robbed a reporter. The charge was led by Ms. Taylor. She was the one running the whole operation. Robbed, those dirty fucks robbed a reporter. Man, I should have just busted the what can I say? What was my one mistake was not fighting for that camera when they threw it down. You know what I mean? I had this clipboard in my hand and somebody grabbed it up, obviously, and I didn't fight for it. I was too busy getting the take on this reel, which is going to be pretty spectacular, let's face it. It started out with a question and answer period. It ended with an absolute melee. And of course, what this proves is that Norm Stamper was not wrong to hire thugs to attack me with great violence. Because even in a room full of soft-hearted liberals, it's okay to rob this guy, and it's okay to beat this guy up, and it's okay to shout the guy down. You shout him down with attendant violence. That's really okay. Everybody's got their constitutional rights, man. Everybody in this big, beautiful nation. Except me. And that's according to the ACLU. Everybody, man. Frank Collins, the Nazi, he's got to have his rights. They've defended Nazis here, too, on the hate crimes law, which they knocked down in Washington State, the ACLU. Feel free to burn a cross on your lawn, son. That's what your racialist spirit leads you to do, because the ACLU is there to defend you. Not me. My camera, my tape of this event. My very cool camera bag, and an extra battery, a very nice battery, and some tapes. Stolen, man. Stolen by those ACLU fucks.
And so little on prevention and treatment.
Well, Norm Stamper, I have to keep looking over my shoulder here because, as you know, I've attended 2 of your public appearances in the last year, and at both of them I've been viciously attacked by gangs of goons that, to all evidence, Norm Stamper has hired. That is, I stand up to ask him a question, I get about this far, and out of the shadows jump who knows? They've not yet been identified clearly to me. When I went to town hall in June, a gang of 4 men and 1 woman. I'm speaking here. Well, we're the goons tonight, Norm. Evidently, you didn't have the balls to hire goons at the ACLU meeting because it just points out what everybody knows, which is on the subject of civil liberties, you have an absolutely execrable record. You are a monster when it comes to civil liberties. You made passing remarks that you choked out 100 people when you were in uniform in San Diego. You know, that makes you a serial felony assaulter of those people. If you had revealed that piece of information when you applied to be Seattle Police Chief, you would have never become Seattle Police Chief. So you're a big fraud. And this liberal nonsense that you're spewing about let's all get high, whatever is in my body is my business, is just a lot of rot. Okay? Now the fact is, Norm Stamper, that the question that you will not answer is why you are publishing a book with Nation Books, on whose board of directors is Danny Goldberg. Danny Goldberg is Kurt Cobain's former talent manager.
With Danny Goldberg. So, Mr. Stanford, could you tell us why you're on a board with Danny Goldberg? Thank you, sir. That's the end of the questioning. And as soon as we get to his answer...
Danny Goldberg knows jolly well how Kurt Cobain was murdered.
We want to talk too. Well, sit down. Come on. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
Answer why you're on a Danny Goldberg.
Well, the short answer is I don't know Danny Goldberg and I'm not on any board with him.
Bullshit! Danny Goldberg is the guy that pimped you into your new career as a police. Hey, I got my equipment.
I'll walk you out.
No, I got my equipment and my notes back there. Danny Goldberg is the guy who pimped him into his new career.
We're walking out.
No, I got to get my property, baby. Kathleen Taylor, the ACLU. Director of the ACLU is shoving me out because they don't like my opinions. Because my opinions are too controversial. Danny Goldberg and Norm Stamper are the 2 people who are most responsible for putting across to the public the myth that Kurt Cobain committed suicide.
Being disruptive.
They are the 2 in April of 1990. No, they're tossing my equipment around, you dirty fuckers.
Come on.
You dirty fuckers are tossing around my equipment. I have the longest running public affairs television program in Seattle, and you're tossing around my property and treating me like some kind of a criminal. There's your criminal. There's your criminal. He's the guy that choked out 100 people. He's the guy that started the WTO riots. He's the guy who's being paid off with his new career as a writer for assisting Danny Goldberg in hiding the evidence of murder in the Kurt Cobain case. That's your Norm Stamper. Complicity in murder. All right?
We don't want to hear anymore, but thank you.
He's the serial criminal that you want to go after.
Woo! Go now.
Shut up, bitch. you shut up too, bitch. Norm Stamper, your liberal hero here. Ask him about how he shortened the lives of the people who he choked out.
Take your dog and pony show where
A serial choker outer in uniform.
where people are interested.
Paid off by Danny Goldberg of Nation Books
May I offer you an
and the Nation
I'd be glad
Institute.
to escort you out the door.
The big payoff. We're going to make you a famous writer someday, Norm Stamper. You're going to be a famous writer. Just help us out. Cover up the evidence of murder in this case. The evidence that Danny Goldberg's own wife knows about.